Hey, what's up? I think I'm live now, and I'm gonna talk about the easy way to find keywords for the keyword golden ratio. And this is a little bit of I guess, a trick because I'm really trying to point you towards what I believe is the most interesting video, the best video in the KGR, the Keyword Golden Ratio Masterclass, but the fewest people seem to be watching it. Maybe it doesn't have a sexy title. We have the usual suspects here. We have Jaron on and Duke, welcome. And I had the pleasure to meet Jaron as I was driving through his town. I didn't realize it until like I was leaving that day. That Interstate 90 goes right through his neighborhood, basically. So we were able to hook up a couple weeks ago as we were driving out, talk shop a little bit, and it was cool to catch up. So I think what I'm gonna do is quickly get to the point. So when I was first experimenting with the keyword golden ratio, I basically was having a hard time like finding the right keywords. I knew what I wanted to do, but I was having a little bit of trouble like just coming up with keywords. And this is one of the most common problems because even if I tell you like the formula and like ways to find it and give you examples, sometimes it's really hard to find like buyers keywords or just keywords in general to start with. Once you find a couple, usually you'll find like a pocket of keywords that work. And basically, I went to SEMrush and I would, pull reports. Now, a lot of people are already familiar with that. You already know you can go to SEMrush, you can go to Ahrefs. There's another tool called SERPstat, and they all provide you with information about the keywords, like the keywords that a site is ranking for in organic search. They don't give you like every single keyword that a site's ranking for, but they do the best they can with the data that's available. So the thing is, if you go to a site, one of the bigger competitors, for example, in your niche, and you pull down their keywords, you may be looking at like 10 or 50,000 or 100,000 keywords, which is just way too many to deal with. It's really, it's overwhelming. And then at that point, you may as well have 1,000,000 keywords because where do you start when you have 10,000? It's just, it takes a while to open CSV in Excel. It's a real pain in the butt. So the reason why I'm trying to point people towards this video, number one, I think it's one of the best videos in the playlist, but the fewest people are watching it. It's about 20 minutes long, so it takes a little while to get through it. However, there's so much good information in there. It's literally how I set up the filters so that you can go from 10,000 words to, 400 words. Then you have something you could check. Then you can filter a lot smarter and check keywords that are highly likely to be, KGR compliant. And see, we got about 17 people on. So hello, everyone. Let me know where you're from. Say hello. I'm going to go back to the chat here in a second. And the thing is, the link for the video, which you don't leave just yet, but the link for the video is in the description of this live stream video, so you can go watch it. And again, I'm sort of cheating. This is, I just want to make sure people give that video attention because apparently it's an easy one to overlook and it's a longer one. And I think probably people see 20 minutes long and they're like, I'm gonna skip it. It's a boring screen flow, but trust me, this is highly valuable. So definitely check it out. Also, we're doing a contest. So Alex Cooper over at WP Eagle and I are auctioning off, not really auctioning, we're holding a contest, that's the right word. We have a contest and all you have to do is be a member of the community, like participate. So all the rules are in the description. I'm not gonna go into it now. They're in the description in that other video or any of the videos in the playlist. And like I said, really all you have to do is participate, leave a comment, like be part of the community. And I'll tell you a quick story and digress right after I get back from the chat here. So Sophie with markers is on, that's cool. Are you an artist, Sophie? Sean's on, what's up? And Sophie, it's the first time here, cool, welcome. Florian or Peter, how's it going? I haven't seen you on in a long time, good to hear from you. And like I mentioned, I got to meet Jaron as I was driving through his neck of the woods. Really nice area. And it was kind of funny because we were driving for about 5-ish hours or so at that point, and it was raining on our side of the Rockies for a very long time. So it was kind of rainy and cloudy. It was kind of a tough drive. As soon as we came over the pass into Jaron's area, basically it was like sunny and beautiful. It was amazing. So I do some one-on-one coaching. So usually it's only if I believe I could help a person. So if someone is, a beginner, I'll point them towards my free material, because, you can't get the right kind of value if, basically if you're a beginner, you can do a little homework on your own, and I'll point people in that direction. But I was talking to someone who I've coached in the past, and it was cool. They were able to like double their revenue. But what I found out was they actually were on a live stream last week. They hooked up with Duke, asked a couple questions, and Duke, the person you talked to, they made some changes. I think it may have been a few weeks ago, but they made some changes based on what you told them, and their traffic went up some. So that's really cool. And for me, like, to be sort of orchestrating the community the best I can, when you guys and gals are interacting on your own and like helping each other, like, that's awesome. So that was really cool to hear. All right, so any questions? I'm just hanging out. My wife's working a little bit later this afternoon, so I'm just hanging out right now. Georgie she hangs out, oh, sorry, I kicked the tripod there. She hangs out in the corner there by the guitar and banjo. She kind of hides underneath there. Whoa, and apparently the chat just caught up. So let me, there were like 10 messages all at once. So if I missed anything, that was my fault. And I'll try and move the camera away from my face. It's a little, all right, Rose is over from London. Good to have you on. And PG Business, awesome. You're in Canada, but you're gonna be in Greece soon. Mama needs her wine. Andrea from Doncaster in the UK, very cool. K3 says, you're from Virginia, you finally got your first affiliate commission. Congratulations, it's $2. And yeah, that's the thing. As soon as you see that it works, it's amazing. I remember when I told my wife, my very first site was a AdSense site, and the first click, I think I made like 14 cents or something like that. And I was like, we did it, we're gonna be able to quit our jobs. I didn't say that, but I was like, this works. Like, someone read something on our site, and then they clicked the ad. So at that point, I knew that it worked. And let's see. All right, now I lost the chat here. So the site that you're working on is like 10 years old, but it's kind of been inactive. K3, that's cool. I mean, if it's that old, you should be able to, obviously, I would say you're out of the sandbox pretty well. And you found out you ranked on the first page for the post, and you don't think you really tried too hard. Okay, cool. K3, that's great. And then we have Blue Fuse. That's Doug. I always remember Doug because it's my name. And then Drew, what's up? Good to have you. Nick is on. I'll be talking to Nick tomorrow, another keyword golden ratio success story. Sarah from Brussels. What other factors should be considered for a KGR with a KGR keyword that fits? So basically, there are several factors. So one, you should look at whether you're going for buyer's keyword or an informational keyword. So both are fine, both are good. You could have great success if you just do informational keywords. But I usually do a blend. 50-50 is good to aim for. The other thing to look for, and Alex covers this in, I think, video number 8 or 9, must be video 9, keywords to avoid. So these are the ones to look out for. I'll give you a couple examples. So number one, let's say you're in the like the health and fitness space. And you find a keyword and you think it may be good, it fits the ratio, but then you Google it, right? You should Google the term that you're thinking of having the, publishing content on. Google the term and see what comes up. If you see like all authority sites like WebMD, Mayo Clinic, like fitness magazines, just like big, huge sites, that tells you that Google and the searcher, they're actually looking for some authoritative site. And this happens a lot in the health space because if I'm, looking for some information on like cancer or something, I don't want to go to some random person's website that's, maybe they know what they're talking about, maybe they don't. I want to go to like an expert website, right? I want to go to an authoritative website like the ones I described. Now, the one caveat for that, so there's caveats within the caveats. The caveat for that is, well, sometimes people do want to hear about like what it's like to stick with me on the example. Let's say it is someone with cancer. Maybe I do want to read their blog because they found out that, a specific diet or, training, something that they're doing is helpful or not helpful. And maybe I do want to read that actual real account. The point is, if you're creating an Amazon affiliate site, it's probably unlikely that you're going to like fake an illness and write a blog. So I think I made my point. If you Google something and you find it's all these, different, and you find it's all these different, very authoritative sites, probably want to stay away. Here's another example. Let's say, and I'll just give this second one. If you Google the term, again, you think it's really good, maybe it's informational, it's a how-to topic, and like 5 of the top 10 results are YouTube videos, well, that tells you that Google and the searcher are looking for YouTube like how-to videos. So a quick search, just a little look will tell you if what you're competing against. Some other factors that you should probably look at is, what kind of sites are ranking. So let me give an example of that. So if you have a look and you see it's, an affiliate site, clearly an affiliate site, and maybe it has 10 posts or something like that, and they're ranking, well, you could probably compete with them. But if you take a look and you see it's like a site with 400 posts, and it's really long form content, almost all of it is really high quality, that's another sign that, maybe that's a tough one to compete for. Now, the thing is, if you see 1 or 2 out of 10, not a huge deal. You have to look at a few other factors. But if you see that like 8 of 10 or 6 even, you have to take everything into account. So hopefully that answers your question. And quick note that I can give you, Saurav, as well, is, most of the time in most of the case studies that I provide around the KGR, I'm telling you, publish 1,000 words at minimum, right? And I think one of the questions coming up reflects why I say that, right? Most people are strapped for, we're limited by our resources, whether it's time or money, those are the main ones, but we're limited by those resources. So most people are looking for, well, what's the least amount of content that I could publish and still get, a sense for what's, going to work. 1,000 words will do it. What's better than 1,000 words? Anything more than that, right? You can do 5,000 words for every one of the KGR posts, and guess what? It'll probably work better. And you're probably better off with, say, shorter content that's higher quality than long form content that's garbage, right? So everything, comes into play. There's a, more quantity is great, except if it's low quality. So you have to find the right balance, right? I watched several like YouTubers that give instructions on how to do well on YouTube. And I think it was Sean Cannell at Video Influencers and Think Media. And he was saying, publish as many videos as you can, but you do have to adhere to like a minimum quality standard. So you could publish like just garbage, lots of content, long form, but it's bad. That won't really be helpful, right? So there is some minimum threshold of quality, and it's hard to say what that is exactly. I can't, tell you it has to be an 8 out of 10 or a 6 out of 10, because what does that mean? It's all subjective. Okay, so hopefully that helps, Sarav. All right. Okay, and Shana2 says, how can you reach your first $1,000 month the fastest way possible? So I'm assuming that you want to make $1,000 with a positive ROI. Because I can tell you how to make $1,000 if you spend $3,000. That's pretty straightforward. So the limiting constraint a lot of times is it goes back to the same stuff. There's only a few thumb screws that we're working with. So for, what you put into it, you have time or money. So you have to figure out, which one you have more of and which one you have less of, and then act accordingly. But if you're just asking me, how could I hit, $1,000 in a month as fast as possible, I would buy an existing blog, all right? And then maybe it's underperforming. Maybe the person isn't monetizing well, and okay, so you have all the time but no money. All right, well then I would publish as much content as you can. I would say aim for, 2,000 to 3,000 words per post. Write it as fast as you can, make it very high quality, make them keyword golden ratio compliant terms. And then once if you have plenty of time, I would say publish 10 articles. And I think you've heard me say this before, I'm sure. I recognize your name. I would publish 10 posts, 50% affiliate, 50%, just helpful kind of content, how-to content. And then after you publish 10, I would promote, go out there, blog comment, guest post, really work hard on that, and then do it again. So those are basically the 2 steps. You find keywords, you publish content, then you get links. It's really that simple. It's not easy, but it's really that simple. There's a lot of nuance to each of those, but I would say I'll point you towards the keyword golden ratio masterclass playlist. If you want to get really detailed into the KGR stuff, that's where you should look. What's holding you back, Shannon, too? I mean, if you have all this time but no money, then what's holding you back? All right. And K3 says you can't wait to start writing longer posts. Mostly your blog over the years has just been sharing about a cool video or a short paragraph. Awesome. That's cool. And once you start publishing, more stuff with a keyword, what word am I? With an orientation around keywords where you're actually trying to rank them for a specific reason, then things will, work out well. And I see we got a bunch of people on now, 34, which seems like a lot for just a last minute deal here. And by the way, I am doing a live stream tomorrow morning, which I have not scheduled yet, but that'll be 10 a.m. Mountain Time as the usual goes. So 10 a.m. Mountain Time. Be sure, if you are, check in the morning. I'll schedule it later tonight. And by the way, you know what? I haven't selected a topic yet. So does anyone have a specific topic that you want me to talk about tomorrow? And thank our moderators here. We have Duke and Jaron on. And Duke gives some advice here to Varun. You would do this. 1 best product type keyword post of 4,000 to 7,000 words. 3 best product for keyword post, best ballpoint pens for architects, and 10 product review post. Cool. And that is probably a more specific and maybe even better advice than what I just gave. And K3 says, should the best product type post be dated with the current year? Totally up to you. I know some people really like to do that. I don't, just because I just don't do that. And further, Duke is saying, like 10 to 20 product A versus product B, KGR articles, one buyer's guide, 2,000 words, 6 KGR, and get ideas from Google Suggest. And okay, John says, how do I go from 65 articles and 800 a month to 8,000 a month? All right, so I feel like maybe boring because my answer is the same as before, like add a bunch of content and get some backlinks. Now, it's hard to give personalized advice in these formats because I just don't have enough information. In fact, when I do coaching with someone, I'm like, hey, tell me what you want to accomplish, and then I need to hear about what your like your current state of what's going on right now. So, I need to hear about, the 65 articles. How long are they? Do you think you're getting good traction on them? Are you ranking for what you think you should be ranking for? Have you interlinked your site all over the place? How many affiliate links do you, how much traffic are you getting? How much, what's your click through over to Amazon? What's your conversion rate on Amazon? What kind of keywords are you trying to rank for? What do you think you need to do? Did you spend all your time on keyword research and content and no link building, or vice versa? Or have you done like a balanced sort of approach? So basically, with questions like that, the way I default is add more content and get backlinks. You have 65 posts, assuming they are reasonably good. I would say you probably need to do some promotion and try and get your your name out there through networking, however you want to do it. So hopefully that was helpful. And I would say you can ramp up fast if you're already at $800 a month. So John, hopefully that was helpful. By the way, if people are interested in one-on-one coaching and stuff like that, you can go to nichesiteproject.com/hire-me, and there's more information there. Although I am pretty busy with that these days for whatever reason, a lot of people are asking about it. So, and I really like doing one-on-one coaching. I did a lot with my old corporate job. I had probably for the last maybe it was longer than that. Maybe for about 5 years, I had between 6 and 15 people working for me. And I would meet with them usually once a week, every single person, usually once a week, sometimes twice a week. And I would, basically I would coach them. They would tell me their projects that they were working on, the hangups they were having. If they needed to escalate, I could either solve the problem or I would escalate it myself, or I would tell them, hey, I've seen this problem before. Here, why don't you try this and let me know how it goes. So I actually missed that portion of it, like coaching and mentoring people. So if you're interested in coaching and stuff, nichesiteproject.com, and you can send me an email. All right. I'll just say Shan. Keyword difficulty check factors. You just use the keyword golden ratio. So let's see. And Varun says, I will start tomorrow. Awesome. Yeah. And Duke's advice is really good, by the way. So if you're watching this later, be sure you pay attention to the chat over there. Okay, Lorraine says you'd appreciate a video about building a proper homepage. Mine is just a blog roll and it's boring. Okay, you know what? A lot of people do ask about that. Okay, so homepage, that's cool. Bree is on, what's up? And Bree says, thanks for the awesome free content. You're welcome. Glad it's helpful. Okay, Craig says, is all entitled the best measure for KGR? Search engines stopped using that as a primary results driver years ago. Google is much smarter now. So Craig, it sounds like maybe you watched the Income School video, which if people haven't checked it out, go check it out. They said that the KGR just doesn't work. And they gave some good arguments. Actually, I agree with a lot of their arguments. However, I may grab a pad of paper in a second because there's a Venn diagram that I think illustrates exactly like why it can work. So you're right. The all entitle and like keyword stuffing sort of idea doesn't work anymore. However, answering a question very specifically still does. And while I may need to hold some of this for like future videos that I'm gonna do, but basically it's like, I'm gonna work on the analogy. And by the way, if anyone has a better one, let me know. But it's like the weather, okay? So a lot of times the meteorologists, they're just wrong, right? Especially here where I live in Bozeman, Montana, like a couple degrees off means like a foot of snow versus like a couple inches of rain, right? So it's very easy to be off a little bit. The data that they get is not always great, and sometimes the data is pretty solid, and they can give a Georgie's dreaming. This is sorry for the interruption. Georgie's totally dreaming down there and barking. Hold on. Oh, she's even barking. All right, sorry everyone. Okay, this is live, totally unedited. So basically, even though the search engines are not using all entitled for the primary ranking factor, if you write an article that answers a question, it has a pretty good chance of ranking. And for example, actually, I'm not going to go deeper than that, but the fact is, even if like the search volume data isn't quite right, even if the all entitled data isn't quite right, I intentionally designed the formula so that you could use two factors. It doesn't matter what keyword or research tool you use. As long as you get some number, you can work with it. 0.25 is super aggressive because the certainty of any one of the values is a little bit low, right? We don't know exactly what the search volume is, but it turns out as long as you're close enough, you got to start somewhere, right? You have to have some estimate. And if you have some estimate to start with, well, you can adjust after that. Now, whether it's exactly right, it doesn't really matter. 0.25 is aggressive enough for it to work most of the time. Now, couple points that I can add in here is like, just because a search term doesn't match the keyword golden ratio, it doesn't mean you shouldn't write it. It just means it doesn't fit the formula. So when people are asking questions like, can you hear her barking right now? Okay, so basically, she must be having a huge dream. So it's very distracting. I'm really sorry, everyone. So I guess I'll go back to the analogy. So just because you don't know the exact data doesn't matter. If you have like some certainty where like if you give it a shot, like you'll be in better shape, that's great. Now, when I get questions like, how can I make $1,000 a month as fast as possible? I will take you down a path that I just described before. Duke, gave it even more like tighter, instructions there. I give advice for those questions, but the thing is, no one asks like, hey, well, what do I do next? Not no one, but those are more advanced questions. So, I mean, I can't blame Jim and Ricky for pointing out the flaws and, hey, if you just do KGR content and you ignore everything else. Well, I've never said that. In fact, I go, will be a good one, you write it. And I think that was a point that they were making. So in a lot of ways, I agree with what they're saying. Now, I think the part that Jim and Ricky might be missing is, so there's a set of, the KGR has a set of keywords that fit the criteria, right? Some of the keywords are good and some of the keywords are bad and you should go for them, right? Some of them don't make sense. Some of them are, just not helpful. Some of them are too competitive. So if you just use the formula without looking at all, well, you could pick some good keywords and you could pick some bad keywords. And I think when they talk about like the keyword golden ratio not working at all because of flawed, inputs, well, it doesn't really matter because as long as it's close enough, you can have like some level of certainty. Now, it's also simple too. And it also gives you some evidence that you're in, the right direction, like you're moving forward, right? So yeah, I guess I'll leave it at that because I can go on and on forever. And I think there'll be a series of videos. So, and by the way, I did reach back out to Income School to see if they did want to continue to, collaborate. And I appreciate it. I know a lot of people actually commented on that video over there. So, and probably put it better than I could. I'm just not good with internet comments. It's one of the worst. It really brings me down. It's tough. It's really tough. So, and I asked for recommendations for tomorrow. So I am doing a live stream tomorrow. I'm just gonna write down what Lorraine mentioned, which is homepage. So I just need to write it down. Home page. It's hard on this tripod here. Okay. And let's see, I'm gonna come back to the chat. Thanks everyone for liking the video. And by the way, if you're joining in just now, the whole point of this video was to actually point you towards the SEMrush video. The SEMrush video is linked in this description, and I believe it's one of the best videos in the whole playlist. However, it has the fewest views at this point in time. So if you've already watched it, really appreciate it. If you have 2 minutes or something, if you go back over there and leave a comment and like the video, that will probably help other people, find the video. So I'm told. All right, let me scroll down. And Duke says, you ran your large site through Ahrefs. It's 6 months old and ranking for about 11,000 keywords. Obviously not all are in the top 10, but it shows potential. Awesome, really cool. Brian asks, is there a resource that has other advanced Google searches like all Untitled? I don't know it right off the top of my head, Brian, but I think if you just look for advanced Google search like terms or something like that, Google has pretty good documentation for their tools. So you should be able to find that kind of stuff. K3 says, you're spreading yourself too thin. You're trying a YouTube channel, Fiverr gigs, IT job, and a night job. So while you're listening. Yeah, you know what? I try and tell people to do less, and usually you'll get more done. But sometimes, when I first got laid off, for example, I tried like 5 different avenues to make money. And a few of them worked, and I realized I hated a couple of them that were working well, and I just stopped doing them. So, at some point you'll be able to slow down a bit. All right, 1 Hour Professor, what's up? It's been a while since I've seen you around here. So you just started trying to do guest posting. You've been reaching out to people, and it seems like the only response is people asking for money. Any way to secure a blog post? And Wesley's on too. Cool, good to see you, Wesley. So basically, you need to spend more time networking. At this point, the supply and demand for guest posting is way out of whack compared to what it was a couple years ago. Used to be able to send out those emails. The problem is I get like 1 to 2 emails per day for each one of my sites. And it's like, hey, can we do a guest post for you? And if I wanted to make money that way, then I probably could charge for that. And I guess it could be an interesting way to make some extra money, but yeah, I think if you spend the time to build a relationship, so I would say if you blog comment a few times of their things, and then you ask them, well, you'll be in much better shape to do a guest post. Another, a way to accelerate, I don't mention this much, but I'm sure some people are gonna give this a shot if I do mention it. You can do like a best of, the best blogs or the best podcasts or the best YouTube channels for blah, and put like 10 or 15 people on there, 20, however many you want, and then write a paragraph or 2 about them, and then put a link, and then you've helped out a bunch of people, right? You've developed some goodwill. And I'll tell you, the people that are, smaller channels or smaller platforms in general, when you put them next to the bigger platform people, they're going to be pretty flattered. And, just let them know. Don't ask for anything. Just send them the email and say, hey, just wanted to let you know. Catch up with them later, shoot them an email, and then you can see you know, sort of the results of networking a little bit harder. Okay, Wesley. Oh yeah, so Wesley was one of the other people in the success story. So, oh, and by the way, I'm actually doing a few interviews coming up. So, a few success stories from other people. So I'm talking to Evan. Sorry, Evan. I think tomorrow. It's all running together, but I'm talking to a few people. Nick's one of them. And I'm catching up with Dave Fox tomorrow. I was just chatting with him to see how he was doing. So I'm going to be talking to him tomorrow. So there'll be more interviews, more playlists out there. And Varun says, I struggle with perfectionism, overanalyzing. Any tips for that? That's a tough one. I used to be like that. And I think when you look back at, you know, even these current videos, but you look back at my earlier videos, they're pretty rough. So you can get over it, trust me. There's a couple things you can sort of think about with yourself. So are you more motivated when you like set an internal goal and you're like, hey, I'm gonna publish, you know, 10 blog posts or whatever, and then is that good enough for you? Or are you better when you tell someone else, say it's your boss, you're like, hey, I'm gonna do this work, and or maybe boss isn't a great one. Let's say you're gonna work out, right? Are you better having like an external commitment where you can, you know, go show up and a coach is waiting for you, taking attendance, and you're paying money for it? Like, does that get you to show up? So depending on what motivates you, you could figure out like how to like just get work out the door versus trying to make it perfect. Because basically good enough is what you should generally be aiming for most things. Okay, I'm trying to catch up. Craig says, you only ask as something, you saw the Income School video, but also wondered if there was another good way of measuring KGR. So no, I mean, it's based really on the all entitled and like people intentionally trying to rank for it. And yes, Craig, you got it. You do have to check out the competition and figure out like what's out there. So, you know, if you look at basically any of one of my videos or any of the blog posts over on Niche Site Project, if you look at it in a silo and you don't consider the context, it doesn't matter, right? So anything out of context is kind of useless. And most of this, all the things that, you know, I'm talking about, it's a piece of the puzzle for a long process that takes a long time. So if you take any piece out without looking at the whole thing, like competition analysis, then it's hard to make it work. All right. And Blue Fuse says, the KGR is a general target to shoot for, which is better than no target. If you write content that satisfies the users, then it's better than all the competition, then all the better. Yep. And Craig says, you get emails out of the blue for one of your sites wishing to do guest posts, and you confess you charge them. It's probably because you've never heard or spoke to them. So networking could work. And I'll tell you, I get posted on sites that like it's off the radar. No one pays attention to these sites because it wasn't necessarily in my niche or anyone's niche. And it's just a regular old blog where someone is like documenting their life or process that they're doing, right? And they would say, hey, I've never accepted. Hey, are we back? I think, am I back, folks? Let's see. Maybe if I sit on the floor here, I can get rid of all the shaky stuff going on. All right, cool. All right, I'm trying to catch up on the chat here. Hey, Georgie, did you have a dream? Let's see. All right. Okay, and yeah, ego bait is always good. Oh, and 1 Hour Professor also says, how do you get your deep links to your website other than your homepage? You know what, basically if you do this networking that I'm telling you about, and you have a post in which you can link to your buying guide or whatever it is, then you can indeed get links to like the specific page that you want to. So it's not as bad as you may think it is. And Wesley says, I don't see how the income school guys don't see the benefit, especially for new sites. They haven't even tested it and make these bogus claims. I admit it makes me a little heated. Thanks, Wesley, for your contributions. Like I said, I can't engage in the comments. Like, it'll just get me down. I will probably read it and be able to address some of the questions. And I'd be happy to, like I said, I emailed Jim and Ricky yesterday after I, finished my course launch, went on vacation, and in general, just was busy until now. So I reached back out to hopefully do collaboration, a playlist where we kind of go back and forth and that sort of thing. And I would say, like I mentioned, I think there are a lot of keywords that fit the keyword golden ratio that are actually bad. But there's a lot of them that are good. And it's okay if they don't like it. That's totally cool. But it is a little weird as far as the positioning. So, okay. And I'm back to the one flaw with the streaming on here is like, it is hard to keep up with all the questions here. All right. Okay, K3 says, you have a blog associated with a YouTube, but all you have on it is a plugin for YouTube API and no post. Is that helping me at all? I'm not sure, but it sounds like probably not. Do you think it's helping you? All right. And Duke says you tried to offer to do all the KGR research for them. All right, and Craig says, sorry to steer it over there. What's my recommendation for ads getting 80,000 views per month? You know what, I'm not sure, and this is, I think Income School, they're moving, so I hear, right? I don't have as much time to watch all their videos and stuff, but I hear they're happy with ad networks and stuff like that. So I would actually point you towards them because they know more than me, and I don't know. So I have no idea. I don't run ads on my sites at all. All right, see you later. Have a good one there. Any other questions? We've reached up to, and Wesley says, AdThrive or Mediavine. So we've reached up to 38 people. So I know a few people dropped off, a few people come on, and basically I want to point you towards what seems to be a less popular video, the SEMrush demo in the playlist. There's a link in the description. That's basically what I wanted to talk about today, is just point you over there. It's the best video of the 5 that I contributed, I believe. And I think if you put the time in for the 20 minutes and see what I'm doing with SEMrush, you'll probably want to, check out a demo for 7 days. You can get a free demo, I think, full access for 7 days at SEMrush, as long as you cancel when the 7 days, or before the 7 days is up, rather. You won't have to pay anything. The thing is, you can get such awesome data from it. Bree says, is it cool for you to ask about others to mastermind in the chat? Yeah. You can, but here is the thing. I have nothing to do with it. So you could definitely do it. And my caution, Bree, is, just make sure you're forming a group with like, number one, people that are about your same level, right? So you don't want to form a group where someone's like way out of whack. Like if they're, just too experienced or not experienced enough. You want to make sure you have a group with roughly, I mean, everyone brings something different to the table. And then the other piece of advice, I have a couple of videos on this, by the way. You should probably, right, just chat with everyone kind of get to know each other for a while before you start bringing like, highly, sort of confidential topics to the table. So that's the other advice I would give you. All right. Oh yeah, yeah. So if you have the chance, you could like this video, and even better, if you go to the SEMrush video and leave a comment, even if you've already watched it or something, just leave any comment like, hey, this was good, hey, this was bad, whatever you want to put, just anything is good. You could ask a question in there, whatever you want to do. Any comment is fine with me. Logan says you just noticed I was on. Will this be up? Yes. As long as my phone doesn't crash, it'll be uploaded, and yeah, it'll be available. You should be able to rewind it and watch the whole thing. Some really good questions today, and I think hey Logan, do you have any requests? I'm gonna do a live stream tomorrow, and I'm gonna do one Friday too. Since I'm back from vacation, I'm gonna do live streams again. So basically, do you have any topics, Logan, that you want me to do tomorrow? I got a recommendation from Lorraine for going over what to put on a homepage, so I can do that. And Craig says your site doesn't always work well with affiliate or e-products. Ads have been on the radar. Okay, cool. And thanks for the compliment. Yeah, and my first site, that's what I did. And I was like, well, that was a big mistake. I'm definitely gonna make sure I have the end product to sell at the end of the day. So since my first site where I had plenty of traffic, I was getting like 200-300 visitors a day, and I was making, I think, about $100 a month. And then I was like, I should be able to make more. So that's when I went over to Amazon. Francisco, what's up? Good to have you on. And Mark, from my actual real hometown, Lawrenceville, Georgia. I was born in Lawrenceville, in fact. So my parents still live there and all that. You have an automotive niche site and you're unsure how to attract people. Content is king. I guess be patient. Okay, so this is, again, another one of those, like, I don't have enough information to make a good recommendation. So, Mark, I think maybe you're just joining up. So definitely rewind this video. I hit some of the points that I would say to you as well. You do need to make sure, patience is key. That is true. However, you do want to make sure that you're publishing, the right kind of content that actually will attract visitors. So you need to make sure people are, kind of at least searching for stuff within the niche. Automotive seems fine. There's a lot of products out there. And I would say, make sure that the quality is there as well. So there's all these factors. Nothing has to be perfect, but everything has to be good enough. And thanks folks for hitting the like. I like that. And Wesley says, put 200 KGR articles and wait 6 months. And that actually is actually quite effective. And yes, it'll work faster than 6 months. But yeah. Let's see, Meteor says, how long has the live stream been going on? About 50 minutes or so. JW, what's going on? Any other questions? I'm probably gonna wrap it up here. I need to start cooking some dinner. I got some sweet potatoes and salmon That should be good, I guess. Am I in focus? I can't, let's see. Okay. And Duke says, Mark, you may want to check out the recent article over at Human Proof Designs about content clusters. Yeah, and you know what? Like, I wish I would have thought of that name, but basically, I ended up doing that with a keyword golden ratio. So again, like the whole breadth of the stuff that I talk about is so like wide that there's a lot of like other little things that are happening that I rarely get to talk about because they're like level, 201 and 301. It's advanced stuff that like, it's only a couple people paying attention. So like, yeah, if you publish a lot of KGR articles and a lot of them are like really similar around the same topic, you publish those and guess what? You created a content cluster. At least I think I'm using the term properly. And basically you're able to, build a lot of relevancy around a specific set of keywords or topic or whatever the product is. Craig is out of here. Yeah, get to work, buddy. And thanks for joining up. And it seems like some people enjoy later in the day. So, all right. Mark says, Lawrenceville has grown a lot. Yeah, it was around last fall. And yeah, it's definitely grown a ton. Lots of traffic. Lots of traffic. And, oh, that sounds good, Wesley. Grilled cheese and potato chips. I'll tell you, I ate like a maniac and drank like a drunk on my vacation because it was, Portland and Newport. So there's like all this West Coast beer that I can't get around here. And I've been eating really healthy, much more healthily in the last couple of days. So I'm feeling better actually. All right, and Bree is looking to connect with other Amazon affiliates. You could reach out to him on Instagram or Twitter. And Bree, why don't you like say what level you're at? So, are you just getting started? Would you say you're intermediate? Are you earning money already? That sort of thing. And that'll help the right people find you. Meteor says, if I post 50 not KGR articles on my blog, how fast can I expect results? That's a tough question to ask. So it could be, by the way, my answer is going to be basically useless. I'm sorry. It may be really fast. It could be a couple weeks, right? That's on the assumption it's like really good and you go out there and promote it, all right? Or it could be never. A lot of people launch sites and never like get traffic. So if they're non-KGR articles, who really knows? A more, detailed answer, if you have good content, like high quality content, long form, and you've selected keywords that are, searched for enough, I think within 6 months to a year, you will have made it out of the sandbox and you probably will start getting some traction then. But it's really hard to answer that question. All right. And Wesley is adding some good details there. Oh, and I missed a question. Is a .com domain better than .us or .uk for SEO? Yeah, and I'll just say Wesley's answer was pretty good. Basically, if you're aiming for the UK, then, get the UK domain. Otherwise, I would say go for .com just in general. Your domain name doesn't matter really. And as far as rankings, no, it doesn't matter. Meteor says, why am I delivering all this content and value for free? Well, sometimes I ask myself that same question, but when I saw, and this was just so recent, I was gonna say when, I had a one-on-one coaching call it was yesterday. It was just yesterday, and the person said, Duke, one of the kind moderators, helped me out, and it worked. I was like, oh, that's cool. A whole community popped up around what I'm doing. So that's cool. That's cool. And I mean, I have some products. However, I usually am just delivering a lot of information. So, and JW says, do I do affiliate or drop ship as well? Nope, I only do affiliate stuff. And JW says, so will a UK domain still rank as high as if it was a .com in the US? That I don't know. I have a slight suspicion that you may be onto something there, JW. Here's my belief. I haven't tested any of this. I've never had a international domain or anything that wasn't a .com. So the thing to keep in mind is you may have a lower click-through. You may have a lower click-through rate from the US if you get a .co.uk domain. And that lower click-through rate could actually hurt rankings. Now, it's not a direct primary factor. However, I mean, the fact is, if I'm looking up something, I have no idea. I don't have a good example. But if I'm looking up something and I need a source based in the US and I see a .co.uk domain, I may skip that one and go to another one. So there may be a secondary effect happening just in general. So, all right. And my phone is going to die. I just got a little notification that it's going to die. So any last questions, any recommendations for the live stream tomorrow, aside from the homepage? Otherwise, I'll probably just do the homepage. Bree says, I'm earning less than $1,000 a month. You're 8 months in. You recently fixed a media file indexing issue, and you're happy to connect with others who have spent some months in the Amazon affiliate game. You're doing it full time, and your Instagram and Twitter is listed there. So if people are interested, you can reach out to Bree there. Like I said, it's like it's a courtship. It's a dating situation, right? So you gotta talk to people. I mean, when I form my mastermind groups, I'm a control freak, I think. So I usually am the hub. I've formed the groups and got people together. And then as I contacted them, I had a one-on-one call with them just to get to know them, like an intro call. And then I set up the full call. So I wanted to make sure it was the right people for me in the group. So, all right, cool. And any other questions or anything before my phone dies? Duke says, you want to applaud me for being classy about the income school, guys. Cool, thanks. And you know what? I'm just, I'm much more, what's the right way to put this? With my background as a project manager, it was more like problem solving and figuring out how to bring people together that are disagreeing, right? So I basically will run away from conflict or figure out how to get around the conflict. How can we make this better? That was literally my job. And, I have a choice to make it, combative or not combative. And, I'll definitely try and collaborate and work with people or, just generally not argue. All right, we made it just about 1 hour here. So I'm gonna sign off. Be sure to check out the SEMrush video, doing a live stream tomorrow. Oh, and I forgot, I'm going live with Alex tomorrow as well. So full day, several interviews. I'll be doing live on my own channel, live with Alex over at WP Eagle. So if you're not on his channel as well, have a look. I'm not sure what we're gonna talk about, but he pinged me today to see if I was around. So I'll be live with him. All right, everyone have a good evening, and we'll see you in the morning.